The Eastern Cape Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Department confirming that over 30 underage boys have been rescued from an illegal initiation school in the Alfred Nzo district. This is after they were taken without parental consent. Now, 4 initiates have lost their lives so far this season. Let's discuss this now with Contralesa President Kgoshi Mathupha-Mokoena and the Eastern Cape Cogta MEC Zolile Williams. To both of you, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. MEC, I want to start with you specifically around the question of the initiates that were rescued. We know at the moment that 4 of these initiates have died. Do we know whether the 4 who have died were also coming out of initiation schools, illegal initiation schools?
Good evening, Koli, and good evening to the viewers. Let me just quickly, Koli, at the outset, pass our message of condolences to the families of the 5 initiates who have lost their lives. Indeed, Koli, 2 of the initiates that have passed on were from an illegal initiation. It's so surprising, Koli, that a boy who was just initiated in December last year decides in Buffalo City, Gunubi, decides to initiate 2 boys without parental consent, and those are the deaths that we've experienced. And our view remains that peer pressure sometimes catches up with young boys. However, it defeats my understanding as to why young boys would allow themselves to be initiated by somebody who's just come from an initiation school, because those boys are coming from a community that understands as to who performs initiation or circumcision. And it defeats my conceptualization as to why that happens. And now we've lost lives of those boys.
Yeah.
And we've arrested that boy that has circumcised others, has been arrested, and we've opposed bail today, and he remains in jail.
How many of those, MEC, that are running the illegal initiation schools from which the 30 initiates were rescued from, how many of those have been arrested?
Only we have closed, I've instructed the rescue of actually 72 boys in Mount Elif in the Alfred Nzo district. And in those cases, 13-year-olds were circumcised. There's no screening reports from the doctors and clinics. And this risks the lives of those boys because some of them may be suffering from chronic illnesses like diabetes and high blood pressure. Some may also be suffering from HIV/AIDS or HIV positive, and the risk of transfer of the same disease to other initiates. Because the traditional surgeons in those areas were untrained by both ICAMVA Institute that we work with in the Eastern Cape and the Right to Care NGO. From March this year, in preparation for the winter season, we have engaged in training of traditional surgeons, but these 2 from that district have not been trained. They've circumcised young kids at 13 years old, and those, we find that kids have been damaged. And then we then instructed that they be sent to hospitals, but parents take care of their own kids. But I think, Koli, there's a serious recalcitrant attitude from parents from these traditional sectors. And we only picked up, Koli, that one was charging these parents about 4,000 per child, whilst he was not even trained. And it fails my conception as to why would people play with the lives of young people like this. There's a shared disdain for the lives of young kids and sheer ignorance of the law. And we have then opened cases for both those initiation schools, and the police investigation are engaged on those cases. And we hope that by tomorrow, those two, because we know them, we've identified them, they will be arrested too.
Khoshi Mokoena, let's bring you into the conversation. When you listen to the MEC's frustrations here, you have managed to almost run a tight ship in the province of Mpumalanga. When you listen to the problems in the Eastern Cape, what for you are key issues that can be easily tightened so that children are not exposed to danger?
Thank you very much, Toli, for having me. Greetings to my MEC there. In Mpumalanga, fortunately, we have an agreement with the Department of Health, where if anything will surprise us, they are on speed dial. They are able to jump quickly to come and assist. Down here in Mpumalanga, we don't allow any person with no experience to run the school. Because we're saying, as a traditional leader, you are equally responsible if you give someone a permit. You can't sit back, fold your arms, and expect the owner of the school to follow all the prescript as dictated by our legislation. We demanded from all the traditional leaders who are issuing permits to say, if anything can happen, you are equally responsible. Hence, they are monitoring structures from the traditional leader, even from the community themselves. Because what we are doing here is that the community are the ones who will dictate terms to say, yes, this person can be given a permit. We know he is capable of running the school. Unfortunately, it's not the same with other places where permits are issued and you are waiting for boys to come back. It's only then you'll see them. Here we are saying, immediately I give that permit, I must make sure that I unleash my people to give me reports on daily basis as to what is happening in the mountain. But the challenge, as MEC was saying there, are these bogus initiation schools, Toli, people who don't have permits. Then even if the situation gets out of hand in those initiation schools, they can't report because they know that they will be reporting themselves. They can't even call for help. This is what the way to address, especially in the Eastern Cape, because all the allowed schools, you don't see some of these challenges that's exposed by the MEC.
Yeah.
This is a serious crisis, Bongi. I hate to say, every year this time we're talking about the same thing, and we are arming people who are against the institution to rubbish it because of our own mistakes. But if police come on board as well, we're not going to defeat this challenge actually. Because some of the police, when you report that, no, there is this illegal initiation school, some of them will say, no, tell the local traditional leader to go and open a case first. Our argument, actually, is that here is a crime being committed. You are still waiting for a case to be opened instead of zooming there and correcting the situation.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to suggest to the national leadership in the police to say, please come to the club so that when we report, jump in quickly to rescue the lives of these poor innocent boys slowly.
MEC Williams, let's come back to you. You mentioned figures of 4,000 Rand per child being charged to the parents of these initiates. Do parents ask questions as to whether my child voluntarily went to this initiation school? But second of all, has this become a business operation as opposed to a traditional custom when such monies are being demanded of parents?
Only in this instance, it has become a commercial venture. However, whilst it is a commercial venture, it is not even performed by people with knowledge and experience. That's what is a problem that we are facing. And parents, I would blame them totally. We are making a clarion call through community radios, through us visiting, working with traditional leaders, to ask parents to ensure that they take their kids to registered schools, and kids must go to trained traditional surgeons, and principals of such schools, as Jose is saying, must be people who can be held responsible. Now, in these two, we are also taking the principals of the two schools to court because they have just opened schools and then left our kids there. Underage, 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds, totally. And we know and understand our tradition that at least a boy must be 18 years old before he can undergo traditional circumcision. 12-year-olds totally are too young to face traditional circumcision. And I'm saying parents must be at the center of ensuring that their kids are circumcised by legally trained and properly registered schools. But in this case, you find even traditional leaders are not aware of those schools existing in their jurisdictions. And we're talking to them. I am going there for an imbizo with traditional leaders and communities to talk to them again as to why they should continue to allow our kids to die in this manner. Because had we not rescued this 72 colleagues, I'm telling you, we'll experience lots of deaths.
Jose, have traditional leaders become absent, particularly with regard to monitoring these initiation schools? But add to that the commercial element of this now. The MEC is clear that this has become a commercial venture. What is to be done?
A very good question, Xoli, and even the explanation by my MEC, much appreciated. The reason that people have turned this noble practice into money-making machine is the tendency that we are seeing of late, where the owner of a school will hire some boys and place them at some corners, that they look for any other boy who is not initiated yet. If you get him, bring him here, and if you bring one, you'll get a certain fee. That's what kills this noble practice. It is clear that the people are no more doing this thing to initiate our boys to know and even to understand what is their role when they are out of this school. I won't sit here, Xoli, and pretend as if everything is honky-dory. It's not, because there are people really who are now opening these schools, the reason being just to get money. We are condemning this practice, even the abduction of these young boys, these innocent young boys, forcing them to go to school without the parents' consent. This must come to a stop, actually. I am embarrassed to speak here as the president of Contra Lesa, that every year there are some boys who are going to lose their lives simply because people are only thirsty for money. This must come to a stop. I just hope government and Contra Lesa will sit down one day and agree on how to address this matter. This practice probably was there from time immemorial. Unfortunately, traditional leaders used to deal with people like this who are really messing up our culture. Unfortunately, those powers have been taken away from us. All we can do as traditional leaders, when we see someone doing this thing, we have to report to the powers that be. If we can sit down and come up with some extraordinary measures, ourselves and governments, we can keep this thing. Time for point fingering is over, because here we're talking about lives that are being lost. Some of the poor boys are going to the mountain because they want to be made. Unfortunately, people are taking advantage of that. Instead of initiating them, they want to make them as a money-making machine.
Yeah.
But we want to say to all those who want to continue doing this practice, make sure you understand your role as an Ingoma holder or an owner. Traditional leadership, my colleagues, please, we are the ones who are issuing permits. Issuing a permit, let's have a structure that will monitor as to what is happening there. If you don't personally go to the mountain as a traditional leader, but have a team that will go there to check and report to you on daily or on weekly basis. If we do that, we'll be able to identify if there are some challenges. Then we report back to the powers that be. And let's make sure that all those owners of the school, they are on speed dial in terms of doctors who will be there when the situation gets out of hand.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that those who are saying, even if the situation gets out of hand slowly, I'm sorry to say some of this owners of the initiation school, they'll say, no, this is Ingoma. He will be fine. No, I went to this mountain in 1970. I can't expect a young boy now to be treated the way I was treated when I went to the mountain in 1970. Totally. It's not on. We're condemning it at all costs. People must really be punished for what they are doing to our young boys. Totally.
MEC Williams, final thoughts from you. You, over and above the frustration I hear in your voice, you're almost sounding helpless, and yet you have the authority, MEC. You are the authority in the Eastern Cape. What action are you going to take in order that innocent lives are protected here from people who clearly have decided that they're going to prioritize making money over a traditional custom?
What makes us surely to stand on shifting sands is when parents do not take their own responsibility to ensure that kids are circumcised by well-trained surgeons and are taken to proper schools for circumcision. That's what makes us to be weak. Secondly, Toli, as government, we've taken strong action since last summer season in December. We've arrested close to 88 people, including traditional leaders, who have participated in illegal circumcision schools. But arresting people only without parents ensuring that they take care of their kids is going to be defeated totally. So my appeal is for parents, because traditional circumcision, whilst traditional leaders participate in ensuring and supporting us and ensuring that we've got monitoring teams working together with government to ensure the safety of initiates. But parents are central in the initiation and traditional circumcision process. So I will again make a clarion call to all parents of Eastern Cape children to ensure that they take children for screening into our clinics. They must be properly screened to ensure that their lives can be saved when they undergo traditional circumcision. But we're not defeated totally. That's why I am saying the law is taking its course up against those who transgress the law, because there is law that has to be abided with by all those who are exercising traditional circumcision. So we will ensure that police do their work, and the courts who have engaged the prosecution authority, we've engaged also the police. So we're working together to ensure safe traditional circumcision. But there are those bogus ones who go around, hide themselves, and we end up in when we investigate, we're getting incidents like the 72 we've rescued. But we want parents to be part of their kids' traditional circumcision.
Final thoughts from you, Kgoshi Mokoena. Would it not be a pragmatic step to say to a frustrated MEC, such as MEC Williams here, that if a province is flaring up, you simply take a decision with the traditional leadership to say, we're closing down the initiation season in this winter because of the number of deaths that have occurred, and we are saying to whoever wants to be initiated or go through the custom of initiation, unfortunately, you're going to have to do it in hospital. You can learn whatever is taught at the school, but having done the actual circumcision in a health facility, and then you can go to the mountain and be educated on whatever it is that is done there. Would that not be a much more pragmatic step?
Toli, my friend, if there is a snake in your house, you don't burn the whole house trying to kill the snake. You identify where the snake is and kill it. Now, that will partly assist, but you'll be punishing even innocent young boys who want to go there, because some of them, they want to go there before they go to tertiary institutions. So if you close down, you will be really unfair to other people. But I understand your concern, Toli. If I was a parent, really, I would also think like that. But all we need to do is to advise our parents that when you take your son to an initiation school, first demand to see the permits, whether there is a permit for that school. Check whether the owner of the school has the certificate to check whether he is a fit and proper person to can run the school. Check whether the caregivers as well, are they trained and fit for the purpose. If you don't get all those confirmations from the owner of the school, please don't leave your child there. Take your child back to a school where all those requirements are there, totally.
MEC, as I let you go, just quickly, the stats that you've quoted, we are talking about 4 initiates who have sadly lost their lives during this initiation season in the Eastern Cape. But I think you made mention of a number of 5. Are you able to confirm for us, for the record, as to how many initiates have died so far during this season?
Yes, Toli, we have 5. 2, we've just got a report today that 2, Nyandeni and Mtata, we've just received a report that 2 have passed on there. We're still waiting for the doctor's analysis as to the causal effect of the deaths, and so that we can register those deaths. But all 3 of them are illegal, and dehydration is the cause.
Yeah. All right. So 5 initiates in total have died in the Eastern Cape, and
Yes.
the total number of those rescued, did you say the total figure is 72?
72, yes, Toli.
All right. To both of you, MEC Zolile Williams, the Cogta MEC in Eastern Cape, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck in dealing with this challenge. And Kgoshi Matupa Mokoena, the Controlesa President, I want to thank you very much for your words tonight, and hopefully there's not going to be any more lives lost. We hope and pray. Thank you very much to both of you.